Welcome to Unshakable with Human Design, the show dedicated to helping entrepreneurs use human design to shift from hustle to flow without sacrificing results. Come here to become an unshakable human and build an unshakable business according to your human design. I'm your host, Nicole Laino. Hello and welcome to Unshakable with Human Design, everybody. I'm your host, Nicole Laino, and we're here together today to talk about becoming unshakable. We're talking about what the title of this show is, and we're getting right down to it. What does it take to become unshakable with human design? Now, unshakable was a term that I started using as I started doing a lot of the deconditioning work and understanding my design. I realized that I became unshakable. The world had much less of an impact on me in any long-term way. It doesn't mean that I'm not human and I don't feel things. Of course, we feel things. In fact, it's about being able to feel everything very, very deeply, but also not be taken off your game and not uprooted by it, which is where that term unshakable really came from. It was this visualization I had of like a big redwood tree where their roots grow so deep and so wide into the ground, and there's such a deep, strong root system that these trees are able to grow beyond where the eye can see. They are these massive, massive trees, and they withstand so much. They withstand the weather, they withstand the winds, and they are not bent. They sway and they move, but then they continue to stand and they continue to grow stronger. That is where this whole thing came from. And if you listen to this show regularly, you know that I end every episode with a little tagline, a little send-off line that I give you, which is that in order to have an unshakable business, you must first become an unshakable human. And that's really coming from my own experience, because I know that many of you are entrepreneurs. I know that many of you listening to this show are growing your business or you're aspiring entrepreneurs. And we know that the entrepreneurial game is a game against ourselves. It is about overcoming our limitations, overcoming our shadows, overcoming the things that distract us and enable us to focus our energy and our efforts towards something that we really want to create. So we seek out the tools that are going to help us do that. And yes, you can take your gifts that are in your human design and you can apply them to your business. That is what I teach people to do inside my Business by Design mentorship. That's what the whole thing is about. But it's so much more than that. And I want to get real clear in this episode about the steps that you take and what is necessary in order to become that unshakable human who has the unshakable business, because that comes first. So we all get very taken into the sexy side of human design. What are my gifts? What's my purpose? Where is my power? And it is so true that it's all in there. Your human design chart does hold the keys to your ultimate purpose in life. It will tell you what you are here to do, but it's so much more than just looking at it and saying your purpose has something to do with overcoming these kind of obstacles and having these type of experiences, that you have the potential to help people in a certain way. Absolutely, that's all there. But I've done a lot of readings lately, both regular readings, and I also do business readings where we go through all of the business connections in your chart. All of that is there. But I always say that there's the chart and then there is the human. There's the human experience, and they come together. Now, if you are still in a low frequency of your human experience, if you haven't worked through the lessons in your chart is a map that's telling you these are the lessons that you are probably going to be here to learn. These are the areas where you're meant to play big. These are the areas you're meant to receive. And if you're not playing the game that's on your chart, if you aren't making the moves that are necessary for your chart to be in alignment, then you're not going to live in alignment. You're not going to be unshakable. In fact, you're probably going to be confused and frustrated because you feel like you're doing everything. You feel like you're taking all the courses and you're learning about your design, but you're not seeing the results. And that can be horribly frustrating. It can be certainly disheartening because then you wonder, what's wrong with me? This works for so many other people, but I'm not seeing the results for myself. So I sat with a few clients in the last week or so, and I did readings with them. and they all cried. And I want to talk about why that is, because they started to see the program. And this is really essentially what the human design chart is going to show you. Now, I'm going to take a moment here to go into the woo just a little bit and say that we're all under the influence of a program. And if you listen to my transit episodes, Christina Luna and I, usually she's with me, but we do a transit episode on the gates that are transiting for the month. And I always say, we're really trying to point out to you how your chart is the program you were born with. It's the codes that you were born with. The ones that say, here, this is you, this is your code. Now, the world has a code that is constantly changing. There's a baby being born right now, and they will have a chart. We are under that chart right now. We are under the influence of it. Just that baby being born right now will be imprinted with that chart forever. That will be theirs. That will be their imprint. But we are experiencing this all the time. And then we are experiencing our codes mixing with other people's codes. They come into our experience, and now we have a new experience. We have our energy next to theirs versus theirs. And we all have certain lessons that we are here to experience. Now, what's so interesting about when I sit with these clients, and the thing that was very much in common for all of them, when they all cried and they all felt so seen, is that there were certain things that they realized were just part of their process. Things that maybe they were blamed for or they blamed themselves for. And they realized that that was actually a necessary part of their life. Now, of course, we know this from a conceptual basis. We hear things all the time like, everything is always working out in my favor. There's always a lesson in everything. If we see the lessons, then we're learning. If we're learning, then we're growing. I never fail, I only learn. There are all of these basic concepts of growth, right? But human design shows you exactly what yours are. Now, every single person I sat with has done a lot of personal development work. They didn't just come into a human design reading as the first step into this personal development journey. They are well-versed and they have done a lot of the inner work and still ended up in a place where they were still unconsciously maybe blaming themselves for things that they did think were their fault, or accepting the blame that other people put on them. And instead they were left with, no, I'm meant to be this way. This process is mine. So one client, for example, she is emotional. She's an emotional authority. And she was told by people in her life that her emotions were manipulative, that they made people uncomfortable, and she started to suppress her own emotions. Now, as an emotional authority, that's not good. Because if you're suppressing your emotions as an emotional authority, all you're doing is suppressing all the time. Because you're literally having emotions every moment of every day. There's something emotional happening inside of you. And if you're taught that your emotions are not a good thing, that they are not accepted, that you're being manipulative when you have them, that you are somehow making people uncomfortable and being a problem, and your emotions are an inconvenience for others. So now you push it down, now you stuff it down, now you try to hide them or not feel them. And what that does is that creates tremendous anxiety, typically in an emotional authority. And she's playing small where she's meant to be big. And also, repressed emotions send out a horrible frequency. So her repressing her emotions is actually doing far more damage than if she were feeling them, understanding them, working with them, and leveling off that emotional frequency that she has. Everything is our energy. And emotional authorities, if you are hiding your emotions, the first work for every emotional authority is always going to be work on your emotions. Really get comfortable with them. Get very snuggly with them and learn to love the fact that they're there because they are part of your strength, not a weakness. And the best thing that you can offer people as an emotional authority is a clean emotional frequency wherever you go as best you can. To understand it, to not try to hide it, because the minute you try to hold it back, you start to send out funky frequency waves. You send out bad, uncomfortable emotion for other people. So this client who's sitting with me crying because now she realizes it was never about her. She didn't do anything wrong. She was just being herself. And other people told her she was wrong. She could accept this on a new level because it's completely objective. I don't even know this person. I had almost no contact with her. She did one of my free workshops, but I didn't have any contact with her before. And the other client as well, she joined my program, but I hadn't worked with her before. I don't know these people. I'm really just telling them what's on the piece of paper and what's on that chart in front of me. I'm just telling them what I see. And when I tell them what I see, the flood of all of their experience comes back. Now, that's the power of it, too. They're actually taking their own experience and looking at it through the lens of the chart. This is where the magic happens. Because most people don't understand the core of their design. And once it starts getting explained to them and they start to see their own life through how it has played out, why things have worked, why things have not. And you start to learn what's the gas pedals and what are the brakes. And you start to understand these are my big lessons. These things were supposed to happen to me. I had another client where I just said at the top of the reading, given your incarnation cross, you have a very mental design. It's very strong mentally. I know you probably want to figure things out. And there might have been things that happened in your past that maybe you've beat yourself up. I don't know. I'm really just telling you what I see, that an experience you may have had with this cross, with this design, is that you think that you should have been able to think through these issues quicker. You should have known this was coming. You shouldn't have made this mistake. You shouldn't have had this experience. But her chart is about experience. Literally, I told her, you have to experience things. You can't logically figure them out. You have an experiential design. So if you ever had an idea in your head that you should have known better, if you had only made the better choice, then you wouldn't have had to have that rough experience or that difficulty. I really hope you can let that go right now, because it's literally not how you're meant to go through this world. That these experiences, good and bad, they are shaping you. And you above many other people, because your design is so experiential. And the tears started to flow. Why? Because there's truth in it. And she was able to let go of so many years of feeling like, if I had only just made better choices. But you just need to know where to make your choices from. This is where power comes from. Now I tell her, this is your process for making decisions. And as long as you're following your process, you can feel comfortable that everything is working out in your favor, that it may not have to look like it right in the moment, but you know you have faith in your process. So when you say yes to something, you know that it's a real yes, and you take bold steps toward it, and you just move with power, with certainty. And then if anything happens that doesn't go right, you're like, well, I know that at least this experience was drawing me closer to the next one. This somehow served my purpose. This somehow served me in my journey. That's what becoming unshakable is. When you have certainty in every step you take, no matter what happens, and you continue walking and you get stronger with every step. This is where it all starts. Then building your business from your design actually becomes a whole lot easier. Now we just start taking your expertise and saying, okay, now that you're in such a high expression of all these things, you understand your design, contemplate these few areas, like your Mercury gate, like your pearl and your pearl sequence, what I call the authority matrix. I have 8 elements that I take you through. I also look at the design holistically. But once you understand and you're living by your design, that authority matrix work becomes so much easier and more fruitful. Why? Well, because you know what you're talking about. You're living it. So you're not in the shadows. So it's so much easier to see what that experience is and what you have to offer people, because you've already worked through some of them. Becoming an unshakable human is the part that makes having an unshakable business possible. And it comes from a conscious effort to learn about your design and integrate your design. And then you can start layering all of those gifts because you're actually living in the gifts. I don't care what the chart says about what your potential is. If you're not living the potential, you don't have that potential to offer yet now, do you? The first step is starting to live up to your potential. So if that's something that interests you, I promised you guys in the last episode that I would be unveiling something really cool and special. I'm actually launching a program completely designed around this. It's called Unshakable Human, and it's here to help you embody your human design. And we're actually doing a wait list. And this is a wait list that's very different than typical wait lists. It's not just a wait list for something. We're actually giving you 50% off the regular price if you join the wait list. So if you join the wait list, when we open the doors, there'll be 2 days that you can join at the wait list price, and it is 50% off the regular price. This is kind of a new accelerated version of my Human Design Lab. The Human Design Lab was my monthly membership. What we are now doing is this accelerated version so that we can get you a really big transformation in a shorter period of time, because that seems to be what is working better for people. So we're going to do 6 weeks together. It will be all of the content that I did in the year of my Human Design Lab on type, authority, profile, and centers. You will get lifetime access to the course material. You will get 4 additional live lessons from me, and you'll get 2 live Q&As. Here's the really fun part. The first person to purchase during the waitlist, so if you are client number 1 into this program, you're going to get your money back. I'm actually going to give you the program for free. 1 person will get this for free, but you got to be first. So we're going to open doors. If you are the first person to purchase and hit that enroll button, then you will get your money back. Everybody else will get 50% off. We'll be announcing bonuses and other things as well. But this is a really fun thing. We're trying this out for the first time. We're going to see how this goes. But please get on the wait list by either DMing me Embody Waitlist on Instagram. I'm at Nicole Laino Official. Or go to NicoleLaino.com/embody waitlist. And you can enter there. You can join the waitlist. Once you're on the waitlist, we will let you know the date that we are opening doors. And then you can mark your calendar so that you can be number 1 and maybe be the person who wins all of their money back. And you get to do this whole program with us for free. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope that this inspired you to want to become unshakable by human design, to use human design as something other than just something where it's a really cool thing for you to talk about with your friends and run people's charts, but actually start to change your life with it, because it does have that potential, but it does take work and it does take a conscious effort to learn and integrate. And that's what we're going to be doing together for 6 weeks. So I'm very excited about this. I cannot wait to unveil the whole thing for you, but I gave you the details here. Join the wait list. I hope to see you inside. And remember, in order to have an unshakable business, you must first become an unshakable human. So thanks so much for letting us help you on your journey of becoming unshakable with human design, everybody. We'll see you next time.
If you loved this episode and you're a fan of the show, please show us the love on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you're listening to the show, and leave us a review. And if you'd like to connect with other entrepreneurs on their human design journey, join our free Facebook community, Human Design for Entrepreneurs. Go to NicoleLaino.me/podcast links to join the group, book a human design reading with me, or access our free human design resources. We'll see you there.